In 2008, banks collapsed. Companies disappeared overnight. Millions of people lost their homes, savings, and stability. Why? Because they were spending more than they were earning. Eventually, the system broke. Now here's the uncomfortable question. What if you're doing the same thing with your health? Every day, you either deposit energy into your body, or you withdraw from your future. Sleep can be a deposit. Movement can be a deposit. Calm can be a deposit. Chronic stress? Late night scrolling? Skipping exercise? Those are withdrawals. Most people think they're just tired, but they're biologically overdrawn. And here's the good news. There is a daily deposit that can reverse it. It doesn't require extreme discipline. It doesn't require 2 hours. It requires 30 focused minutes. This video is educational and informational only. It does not replace professional medical advice. During the 2008 crash, Hal Elrod lost more than half his income. He lost his house. He fell into deep depression. Everything felt broken. A friend gave him one simple suggestion. Wake up early, go for a run, that's it. During that run, he heard a sentence that changed everything. Your level of success rarely exceeds your level of personal development. That morning, he made a decision. Stop blaming the economy. Start investing in himself, every morning. Within 2 months, he doubled his income. He later called his method the miracle morning. But what matters most isn't the story. It's why it worked. In the first 30 minutes after you wake up, your brain is chemically primed for focus. Cortisol naturally peaks. Blood flow increases. Alertness rises. Before emails, before noise, before stress. This is your biological advantage window. And most people waste it scrolling. A study published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that structured morning routines increased daily energy by over 30% and improved sleep quality. Not motivation, energy. The first deposit is silence. 5 minutes of breathing, stillness, no stimulation. Research shows mindfulness practices reduce cortisol and improve heart rate variability, which is a marker of stress resilience. When you start your day in silence, you lower baseline stress before the world demands your attention. The second deposit is affirmations. And this one is often misunderstood. Affirmations are not empty phrases. They are repeated, intentional thoughts designed to shape identity. Neuroscience shows that repeated thoughts strengthen neural pathways through a process called long-term potentiation. In simple terms, the brain wires itself around what you repeatedly think. Functional MRI studies have shown that self-affirmation activates the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, a region associated with self-processing and valuation. When this region becomes active, people show reduced defensive responses to stress and negative feedback. For example, in one study, individuals who practiced self-affirmation before receiving criticism were more open to behavioral change and less reactive emotionally. That matters. Because most people wake up and immediately reinforce a negative identity. I'm behind. I'm tired. I'm not disciplined. I'm not good enough. If you repeat that every morning, your brain strengthens those circuits. But if you intentionally reinforce statements like, I am becoming stronger, or, I act even when I don't feel like it, you begin shaping a different internal narrative. Over weeks, that repetition influences behavior. Not magically. Neurologically. The third deposit is visualization. And this is where it gets powerful. Visualization is mental rehearsal. You imagine yourself performing a task successfully before doing it physically. Studies in sports psychology show that mental rehearsal activates similar motor and sensory brain regions as actual performance. In one well-known experiment, Participants who mentally practiced piano exercises improved almost as much as those who physically practiced. Their brains showed measurable structural changes. That means your brain does not fully distinguish between vividly imagined practice and real experience. Olympic athletes use this deliberately. They rehearse races in detail. The breathing, the movements, the finish line. When the real moment comes, it feels familiar. You can apply the same principle. Before your workday begins, visualize handling a difficult conversation calmly. Visualize completing your workout. Visualize finishing the task you've been avoiding. 5 focused minutes reduces uncertainty and primes action. You are not just hoping for a good day. You are neurologically rehearsing it. Most people underestimate this habit, but it changes how you show up under pressure. The 4th deposit is exercise. And timing matters. Morning movement amplifies your natural cortisol peak in a positive way. A 2024 study in Scientific Reports showed that 12 weeks of morning aerobic exercise improved cardiovascular markers and sleep quality. Other research indicates that exercising earlier in the day may improve metabolic flexibility and fat oxidation. You don't need an hour. Even 15 to 20 minutes of brisk walking, bodyweight training, or cycling creates measurable physiological benefits. You signal to your brain that the day has started with intention. The 5th deposit is reading. Intentional learning every morning. During the cortisol peak, your hippocampus, the brain region involved in memory, is highly receptive. When you read consistently, you strengthen cognitive networks and expand perspective. 10 pages a day equals roughly 3,500 pages per year. That's 12 to 15 books. Most adults consume hours of passive content daily but almost no structured learning. Reading compounds intellectually just like investing compounds financially. The final deposit is writing, journaling, reflection, gratitude. Research published in Behavioral Brain Research shows that expressive writing improves emotional regulation and working memory. Writing forces you to slow down and organize thought. When thoughts stay in your head, they feel chaotic. When you put them on paper, they become structured. That reduces cognitive load and frees attention for what matters. None of this works in one day. Day 1 feels small. Day 5 feels inconvenient. Day 10 feels pointless. Day 20 feels different. Day 30 feels powerful. That's compounding. Research from University College London found that habits take an average of 66 days to become automatic. But meaningful behavioral change begins much earlier. Consistency beats intensity, every time. Here's what most people get wrong. They try to do everything perfectly from day 1. They wake up at 4 a.m. They force a full hour. They burn out in a week. Start with 6 minutes, 1 minute per practice. Build gradually. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is daily deposits. Your life doesn't collapse in one day, and it doesn't transform in one day either. It shifts with deposits, small, intentional, repeated. 30 minutes each morning. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, writing. 6 deposits, 1 system. You're not lazy, you're overdrawn. If you're facing depression, anxiety, or serious health concerns, seek professional support. Morning routines complement care, they don't replace it. If you want more science-based content on habits and health, subscribe. Next, I'll explain why most people wake up exhausted even after 8 hours of sleep. And it has nothing to do with time in bed. See you in the next one.